Hey everyone, this is Ryan coming at you with the last week of February's programming. So we've got our vitality test coming up in CVC this week. We've got a last couple days of testing for our level method testing in CrossFit. However, that does not mean we're done with that. Just to give you an idea of where we're going with this. So at the end of this week, I'm going to run a report. It's going to tell me how many people have completed all the tests that we had during the month of February and where we're missing tests. And I'm going to take a look at the ones that are what tests we're missing the most of. And we're going to start to piece by piece put those tests back into our normal programming, because I know a lot of people are ready to get back to just doing workouts. I am too. So, but about every couple of weeks, you're going to see another opportunity to test in there. So you have your chance to retest or do that test for the first time. That's going to get you closer and closer to getting that overall method. So we're still got more to come with this, but the testing sequence is definitely going to get less frequent going forward. So Monday, we start with some testing for level method. This is the weightlifting category. Most people are going to do some number of kettlebell swings or some number of hang power cleans. A few people will be doing a 1-rep power clean. And then even a few people would be doing a clean and jerk that day. If you're doing the clean and jerk for guys, that means you have a 1-rep power clean of 200 pounds, or for ladies, 140 pounds. And so you're going to do the full clean and jerk of that. And later on, we'll get a snatch weight in there, and you'll add those together for that weightlifting total. Otherwise, most of us are going to be sticking with some version of the power clean that day. For the kettlebell test, this is probably one of the most brutal tests that we'll do. It's a 10-minute kettlebell test. Most people are doing kettlebell swings or single arm swings, and basically there's a certain number you need to get every minute for 10 minutes and maintain that. You do not want to overshoot on this. Be conservative on deciding what that number is going to be that you're going to try to maintain every minute. You want to allow for some rest in there. If you go too high out the gate, it's hard to dial that back and try to keep moving for the entire 10 minutes. Some people will be doing kettlebell snatches instead of single arm kettlebell swings there. And we'll do a review of that. Then we've got some practice there afterwards, if we have time, some jump rope practice and some strict knees to elbow practice or strict knee raises practice. Basically, we're doing that in prep for Thursday's test. We'll be working on our core and our jump rope or neurological tests that day. In CVC, if I can get my thing to switch here. There we go. In CVC, we've got our vitality test. A lot of people have already done this. We did this back in, I believe, November, the end of November. So if you go back and look at that last week in November, if you recorded results for this, you'll see that in your Zen planner if you scroll back to that last week in November and find this test. Basically, you're recording the number of reps that you're doing and the weight that you're doing, trying to get as much work done as possible. Remember, you need to pace yourself on this. This is a lot of work. We kind of use that first round, even though it's 5 rounds, that first round's not recorded. We're just warming up, not even using the weights we're going to use for the rest of the workout. Then we try to stay consistent for rounds 2, 3, and 4, and then we try to blow it out on that last round and leave nothing in the tank. And we've still got some homework for you that day as well. For CrossFit, no testing. We're going into some workouts now. So chance to work on some heavy thrusters, and those will actually be from the rack. We'll teach you the thrusters if you've never seen that before. You also get to dial in some good front squats and push presses. If you're at the white or the yellow, this will lead to good thruster mechanics there. And then we've got this 12-minute workout. This is an interesting workout. So it says the level consideration here is lactic tolerance. So that was our group 1 test where we had like a quick 3 or 4 minute workout there. Even though this 12-minute workout doesn't fall within lactic tolerance, you're going to take the first couple minutes of the workout and work really hard with those thrusters and runs. And then after that, you're going to settle into a good pace of pull-ups, push-ups, and air squats. And that's just going to be consistent movement, quick transitions. You've got a chance here for those of you who are kind of in the orange-blue area to maybe do some of your rounds as pull-ups. And then as you run out of those good rounds of pull-ups, turn those into jumping pull-ups. And so we'll do a little mixing and matching there with the orange and the blue, depending on your proficiency with kipping pull-ups there. Everything else is pretty straightforward. So for CVC that day, that Tuesday, confidence workout, this is our slow burn. Expect to feel those shoulders on this day with the ladder plank walk and the suitcase deadlift. And we're going to hit the legs a little harder in the week here, but expect to feel those shoulders. It's doable in this one because you've got that full minute of rest in between these rounds. And then we've got a workout here from the hammer curls, a cash out with hammer curls on each side. So that's kind of working the other end of the of the upper body there. Instead of holding that good plank position or holding on to something, we're kind of working the biceps there. It's been a while with all this testing in CrossFit that we've been able to do a longer workout. So we've got a classic CrossFit workout, the Filthy 50, or otherwise known as Chuck Norris. This is 500 reps for most people, or you can scale back the number of reps. You'll see there's lots of opportunities to scale, but essentially if you're working at the orange, blue, or purple, it's the same workout unless you can't do knees to elbows, then you're going to do hanging knee raises there. In order to get this done, there's a lot of stuff going on that day. We only need a couple people if we got a full 20-person class working at each of these movements. So there's going to be a lot of moving around the room that day to get this done. Make sure you're moving efficiently. You're limiting the amount of rest you're doing and just thinking constant motion, nothing too fast. And you don't even have to do this in order to get it done. If you do it in order, you really have to manage that shoulder fatigue going from the hanging from the bar to the push press to the wall balls to the burpees. So that means short rest, short sets, and then getting back to it and trying to think constant motion. If you're not going in order, it makes it a little bit easier on the shoulders, and you're going to think longer sets there with this. We've got a new class coming on Wednesday. So Wednesdays used to be called Accountability Wednesday because it was a fun interval workout that was done partner style. Well, we're not getting rid of that, but we're going to add more variety to the mix now. So we're going to call this Hump Day HIIT. Now, we didn't get a chance to work out last Wednesday because of the weather, so we're going to get that workout in that we had originally scheduled, which is a partner workout. But in the future, expect a interval-paced workout that does not fall within one of our CVC patterns, which means it's kind of a wild card day. It may include partner workouts, and it may not. So that's coming up in the future. So that's what we're calling this Hump Day HIIT now. It's just a good way to keep that energy up in the middle of the week. So Thursday, testing, our last day of kind of testing in February. This is a chance to do our jump rope work and our core work. There's lots of different tests that are going to be going on that day. And if you end up in the category where you've got so many number of unbroken double unders and you pass your Tabata sit-up test, there's another component that is strict knees to elbows, which is why we did some practice on Monday. If that's the case, you may not finish that test that day, just like our weightlifting total. We may have to come back to a day where you can do those knees to elbows and stay and get a good chance at doing those well. But you may want to do a little bit of practice on those to start understanding the mechanics of those strict knees to elbows. It's not something we've done a whole lot of, so it's going to be interesting in how we perform as a group. But that may be a little bit easier than trying to string together kipping knees to elbows, because with the strict knees to elbows, you may be able to get to lean back a little bit more and get those knees up a little bit higher. So we'll talk a little bit more about that on Thursday when you do that test. You've got another test that day with the squat endurance. That's essentially doing a certain number of air squats or split squats or back squats, usually 20 reps at a time. So you're going to see how much you can load up there and keep moving for those 20 reps. That's your test that day. And then since we're not using any upper body that day, we've got some dumbbell push press and tricep extensions to do on that day as a cash out. So I warned you on CVC. We did some shoulders on Tuesday. We're going to get to some lower body later this week. This is the day, Thursday. Those legs are going to be burning with the jumping ball slam, if you can do that, or just regular ball slams. We're going to keep those light so you can keep moving. Then also because you're going to be burning out your legs on the dumbbell rack squat going heavy that day and the shuttle runs. And then you've got the Russian twist there to get some good rotation and core going on. And even more core with ab mat sit-ups. Friday is a workout, not a test. So it's 5 rounds of kettlebell swings and burpee pull-ups. I love burpee pull-ups. They're so fun. The goal here is to pretty much stay unbroken with the kettlebell swings. Maybe in the later rounds, get a quick rest in there. And then the burpee pull-ups are a good, consistent pace. Nothing too fast there. Just keep moving the entire time. If you're doing the classic burpee pull-up, that barbell or that bar that you're going to jump to is 6 inches to a foot over your head. You really have to jump to it. the closer it is to you, the more it becomes a jumping pull-up. So depending on your level of familiarity with pull-ups or degree of difficulty that you can sustain with your pull-ups, is basically going to determine how far away from the bar you are when you jump to do that burpee pull-up. So that jumping pull-up may actually still be kind of like a classic pull-up there. The better you are at pull-ups, the farther away that bar is, and the more you start from a dead hang. Otherwise, almost everybody starts with some type of bounce off the ground, jump to the bar that's going to propel you upward over the bar. And then we've got a cash out that's going to help cool down that lower back, because you got 150 kettlebell swings for some of you there. So nothing heavy here except for maybe on the dumbbell rows, but the good morning stay light there just to kind of cool down the back. Confidence that day. So this is kind of a good balanced day. You've got rowing, you've got the parasites for the upper body and mobility in the hips, box jumps over, so good hip extensions, and then lower body and core with the kettlebell goblet up downs. Just a good, well-balanced day there, and we'll end with some wall squats. Oops, going backwards here. Here we go. No idea what Saturday's going to be for CrossFit because we got the open, but we're going to be ending our Vitality Month with Vitality. Lots of work here with the running man and lateral running man, the squat cleans, the alternating power rows, max with the kettlebell facing squat thrust. So lots of work there. The side plank is your one chance to kind of catch some rest there. And then we'll work on some more core with our L-sit practice too. That's going to look different at each of the locations. At the Fishersville location, you may be able to hang from the bar. At the Stanton location, we're going to talk about doing that, holding that L-sit from a box or maybe even kettlebells there. And you don't have to do them a whole long time. This is just a chance to practice there. You're not going to do full 3 minutes of L-sit. You're just going to practice for those 3 minutes. All right. See you this week.